Bunch. What do you think about this match?
I'm really excited to see it. Shapeshifting is going to be like a new pickup for this team. They've obviously played together a lot before, but like to see them actually at a LAN playing together, it's really exciting. Shapeshifting previously of Lob City with Mystic and Leo Leon. So I'm really excited to see where they go with this. And then you got Bozo Bunch, obviously. My mortal enemies. They knocked me into losers, but it's all good. They played very well, so I couldn't be upset about that at all. How do you feel about this, AJ?
Pretty fun. Looking like it's going to be a good match. Of course, now that we are in the winners finals, it's all best of threes here. So got some good maps here. Going to be Oni Village first, then CTC. Looking like Taiko Temple game 3 angle. Should be a whole lot of fun on that one. Gotta get to the Oni Village first. It's going to be a very core control heavy map. But what do you think about the different maps here?
I really wanted to see Dubu kind of take Oni. Like they've been thriving on this map so well. Grimella I've seen playing Estelle pretty much every single game that I've seen him on, which is every game that he's been playing, of course. But I've always kind of feel like Dubu really excels in like those open maps. 3Z and Grimella play so well together on those open maps. And then you got Bozo Bunch, who I feel like really like those closed off maps. They can play well on the open maps, but on Night Market, you will never see them playing Night Market for the most part because just how well they do on that map. And yeah, Dubu banned Night Market to start with, so.
Immediately followed by the Octavia instant ban on the cast to last start Oni Village, so that's gonna be pretty standard there. Now and then Estelle, no Rasmus pickup there, so Estelle Asher maybe picking up the goalie first, dropping the Rasmus to later priority. Is there a Rasmus pick here on the players? Do you know?
For Bozo, absolutely. Dropbella is very well known for his Rasmus. He might downplay it quite a bit, but every time he plays it incredibly well. So I'm pretty hopeful. Oh, no, never mind, he's playing Juliet. All right. The Kai is probably going to be playing midfield, and then I can see the Now on the goalie.
Now would be a definitely. I was also excited for the Estelle, like you were talking about, but doesn't seem like we're gonna get to see it this time, unfortunately. Well, we're gonna see it on. Dude, never mind. I'm dumb. Scratch that. Happens. For whatever reason, I thought it was the band, but it's the blue hair on Octavia, blue hair on Estelle. But happens. But we do have that Kai, that Julie. Julie, not usually as good, but it's, you see the 1-2 punch, you kind of got to take it. It's really good, and especially on those speed gates, you always got to be careful of the punch, because, you have someone running through, they're thinking, oh, I'm safe, it's Oni Village. It's not a kill map, I would never die, and then boom, dash punch. But you also have that Atlas, though, to back it up. I think that's a pretty good final pick there, just in case something happens. Bit of assurance. Any last thoughts about the draft here?
Not necessarily. I feel like the way that Bozo plays with the Juliet on this map in particular is they like to kind of force it onto a lane where Dropleto can threaten the goalie if the goalie wants to walk forward and hit the core. Really be going for a lot for those dash punches, just because if you're going to play on that lane, you're really outside of the gate. It surprised a lot of goalies with that, and I'm not sure if Shape's going to be ready for it. I've played against this man, though. He is on point with all of his Atlas ultimates, so I'm excited to see that as well.
Yeah, seeing those clutch Atlas ultimates, you think they're dead, and then like last second, at the very frame they're about to die, they come back. Always super hype there. But going into the draft, we will be seeing, it's that Now goalie like you were talking about. Personally, I thought it was going to be the Kai, because I've seen a lot of Kai goalie we just saw in the show match. But you, of course, have the game knowledge there, fresh with that. But now Kai, Julie, definitely a force to be reckoned with there. A lot of core control potential, and if you're saying that drop's really good with that, then going to be a treat to see that one on the other side. We got the Atlas. We can't quite see if that's the goalie, but it's almost guaranteed. There it is, shape-shifting on the Atlas there. 3Z Asher in the front. No Rasmus, but that Asher is going to be definitely a lot of, not damage, but control there. Damage for the goalie. Making sure that never goes through, but that Rose Warp to kick things off up the start here. The Rose Warp pass over 3Z Breezy gets it through the Asher protection, though. Not getting it through. On the back end of that, they lose control of the core, and then first barrier goes over to the Bozo Bunch. 3Z Breezy intercepting the pass there. Strike shot, though, getting it as well. Now on that strike shot, able to have so much forward pressure there. The arrows as well will be coming out extra far off of that. Goes to the bottom, loses first barrier. One barrier to one barrier, same side as well, but an interesting situation. Can be kind of funny seeing them keep on the one side of the map. Astral Projection gets it forward. Strike shot, finally getting it through, and that is Soondubu Strikers opening the goal for the first time, even though they lost that first barrier. Going to go over, though. Shapeshifting picks up Grimella in the corner there, passing it up, but it goes to Obscure Breads, who just passes it around a little bit more.
I could really see that Obscure Breads really likes playing with Brett a lot, Brett being I, of course. They played together not as long as the other two have, Grimella and 3Z Breezy, but that trust is just in there, and I really like that a lot. Something that I'm really interested in is that 3Z Breezy, instead of picking the Rasmus, which is definitely open because Kazan was banned, is picking Asher, and I feel like the reason for that is now is very good at swatting the core away. Ooh, nice score by Grimella.
Yeah, great piercing shot, lines up with Gret as well. Not quite the caster curse on it, but definitely cool to see that first goal going in a pretty, not quite standard fashion, but it is the Estelle classic. You set that up really nicely, and it is just a tried and true method to get it done. Piercing shot there, not going to connect the core. Connects up with Gret, but he's going to instantly be healed, get the barrier as well. And now we have the opposite barrier, which I think is a lot more standard on Oni Village. Dash punch, though, failing on 3Z Breezy, not going to be killed just yet there. And the barrier beam as well, dodged out of the way by Gret. Pass over from Grimella by shapeshifting. They're trying to get to 3Z Breezy. Crystal Thorns gets it forward, but the strike shot just keeping it in this corner as well. Really good play there by Breads, who's just trying to keep it there. Great arrow as well. Red cores it all the way across the map. 3Z Breezy holding onto this core flip. Grimella as well. They might have to use it there. Oh, Gret surviving there, just barely healed as well by now. That is going to be 3Z Breezy. First blood over to the Bozo Bunch. 3Z Breezy maybe still a little bit warming up from that, or recovering from the show match. But will be that first victim here of the Julie dash punch. Setting up, though, can't quite get the barrier, and we return to the sort of cycling that we saw earlier on the map.
Droplette and getting that kill was absolutely necessary. 3Z was positioned with the flip. He was able to take the barrier if the core got to him. But Droplette and making sure that Breads wouldn't have to suffer the flip. It's really nice core rotation by the three of them, Shapeshifting, Grimella, and 3Z Breezy moving it around. But let's kind of see where this is going from here. I'm curious what Breads took. I can look over here. Strike shot. Okay, strike shot really good, keeping the core away. I know he really likes to favor the momentum speed boots, but strike shot's really good pickup on now as well. It's such a flexible character. He really makes it look really good.
Yeah, I mean, especially on Oni Village having that extra forward pressure, but core flip forced out of shapeshifting there actually means that there's a lot of advantage here with two flips on the side of the Bozo Bunch. They're not quite able to get it through, but oh, unfortunate angle there. Shapeshifting doesn't get the defense. Barrier goes down, goal is open, Cosmic Expanse comes out, does get the save. Their barrage goes through, defended really nicely by Grimella on the bottom there, passing up to 3Z, or to Shapeshifting, then to 3Z. Breads with the secondary getting it forward, Astral Projection goes wide, into the arrow, but right back over to Shapeshifting there. Arrow hits 3Z. A little bit of damage, but not too much just yet. Crystal. Ooh, and that is the dash punch onto 3Z there. Really nice pickup by Dropletto, who is just killing it. And by it, I mean 3Z on this map. Strike shot down to the corner, and that's going to be going over to Gret, who puts it through. Flurry from Dropletto, making sure that there's just not a chance for Shapeshifting to even get down there at the core flip too. So Bozo Bunch now on the board as well, and not quite in shambles, but Soondubu did not look very strong in that point.
They can definitely bring it back. Shapeshifting make a little tiny mistake, probably trying to go for a specific angle, but wasn't able to get it. I really like the way that Gret plays around the strike shot. Knowing that Shapeshifting had strike shot up, Gret shot it forward, walked down in preparation for it, and the strike shot sent the core right back to Gret. That team has always been incredibly good at capitalizing on strike shots, especially if they weren't placed very well. But with Soondubu having all the core control right here, it looks like Bozo's on the back foot. And unfortunately, kind of fed out.
Yeah, it can be very difficult to get through that Asher or even around her when you have Grimella on that Estelle, who's been kind of on that all day, but we go for another rotation here. Not quite enough. So many times we see the teams getting it across the map, but they used all their abilities to do it, so they ran out of steam. So we see things like an Astral Projection moving it forward, and there's nothing left to rebound it. 3Z Breezy up on the top with the core flip there. Piercing shot, Rose Warp, all used. Barrier Beam 2. Core flip kill from 3Z Breezy there. Goes down past Grimella, intercepted by Dropletto, though. Astral Projection not going to connect there. Dropletto not going to use the core flip just yet, is going to hold on to that as much as possible. Arrow from now, dash as well, buying so much time. Kai is now back on the field there. Gret is able to now try and counter this Astral Projection and the Cosmic Expanse. Going to be able to save the goal there is Obscure Breads through so many abilities. Dropletto going for a bit of a cheeky dribble back pass into the now air there, but in the end it's going to go to 3Z, and 3Z puts it in. 2-1 lead here for the Soondubu Strikers. And again, very back and forth here, going for a lot of cycles. It's kind of the theme of Oni Village, but it is always great to see.
Oh yeah, Dropletto definitely didn't want to hit the core forward, knowing the Shapeshifting had all of his cooldowns up. Was trying to, bait out the Astral Projection, trying to bait out the Cosmic Expanse. Sent it back to the arrow, which I really liked a lot, but I don't think he expected the angle to be that. But we're in the next point now. It looks like they're trying to feed the core forward. The barriers are being on the same side means that I feel like it's going to be very beneficial for Bozo here, because Gret is playing Kai. Kai's very good at kind of hitting the core forward, whereas Estelle is kind of really good at catching the core when you're trying to feed it out. So definitely look at the barriers, where the barriers are placed, because that definitely dictates how Oni's is going to be played.
Yeah, that is a very good point there. It can be a very different map depending on where those are. We see right now this corner pressure from Gret and even the pass split are kind of used in a really weird direction there just to keep it forward. Breads and 3Z kind of switching. That is a barrier going down. Good shove through by the Bozo Bunch against shapeshifting. A little bit of a strike war here in the bottom. 3Z Breezy getting it right through Gret, using the barrier beam as well, but there's just nothing left to get it through. Pass up to Dropletto and around. Giga Blast goes and hits it, but the Astral Projection counters it as well. And oh, the Cosmic Expanse! Not quite enough. A little bit delayed on that one, so it went up into the corner and around, and a little bit unfortunate. They've got the sad boys emotes there. It is a little bit sad, but also just the classic good humor here of these players, just using that whenever something goes a little bit wrong, just to say, happens to the best of us.
Oh, absolutely. Every single person makes a mistake. You know, even at the top level, you're going to see a lot of mistakes coming out. It's all about capitalizing on those mistakes. So the barriers fell incredibly fast for Soondubu Strikers. Bozo taking the set pretty handedly. That was pretty exciting.
Yeah, that last goal was amazing by Dropletto. I mean, using the flurry of blows there, I forget the exact name of it, but that Juliet special is really good at securing it when it's that open goal and you have it right in front. Just catch the core, send it through, stun up the goalie. Kind of does everything you need it to. But Kai, rewarded with Twin Drive there, denies the Atlas out, and also is just really good on him. But that does mean that Asher does get size. We might even see the Among Titans pick up here. Denied by now, but that means that we might see the aerials on the Estelle, depending on how they all work out. There it is, aerials to Estelle, missile prop to Atlas. A lot of forward pressure.
Yeah, but this being the first spark of the game in the first draft means that the potential exists for Dropletto to kind of spiral out of control with all of the awakenings that he gets. I definitely agree with Gret taking the Twin Drive over the aerials. Aerials probably is better for Kai in the long run, but if Atlas is able to get Twin Drive, then it's going to be a lot harder to score on him in the end.
Yeah. One of those sort of draft picks where, like, if you're just going for what's best for you, you can kind of lose the draft, even though it feels a little bit weird. But Barry's going down. We're back to this diagonal barrier situation here. Goes rebounding red core all the way around the field there. But the Rose Warp not quite enough, even with the aerial's extra distance on the surprise effect with that, but not quite enough. We have some very good defenders here. Corflip forced out of shapeshifting, gets it all the way around, goes for a cycle, but doesn't really do too much just yet. There's a lot of passing play here. They're trying to get the setup with enough abilities to get through the goalie. That's kind of the name of the game here. You can't do anything halfway. You have to get it there and have abilities, which is very difficult to do with good midfielders like this. 3Z Breezy almost getting it, but there it is. The Rose Warp from Grimella dies for it, though. Power play opportunity here for Bozo Bunch to get back in this.
Hey, the Iron Wall 33 is coming out from 3Z Breezy. He's going to play goalie alongside shapeshifting, and it's going to be really hard to get through an Asher and an Atlas, especially with one of them having flip. Even though the flip is on both of the Bozo members, Dropletto has to really fall back so he doesn't die here, as all of Soondubu are trying to kill him. Oh, what a cheeky shot! Luckily blocked away by shapeshifting, who is looking very young right now.
Yeah, very good reflexes there and a good save on it. The piercing shot as well from Gamela, almost securing the goal, but just the core speed was so out of this world that just was not expecting to go that fast, it seemed. Cosmic Expanse forced out there, and of course with no twin drive with that denied, it's going to be really nice to not have to go through that for the next few seconds if they get it across. But with so much, the core flip countered by Breads is there. The counter flip really nicely timed there. Always a bit of a risk to go for that, especially on when there's not super high stakes at the beginning of the set. Sometimes you want to just say, it goes in, I have the energy for the next set. But Rose Warp from Grimella sends it through. Strike from Gret was a little bit too late on that one, unfortunately, and Soondubu Strikers taking the lead once again.
Yeah, with the Asher pick being at the top, it makes it really hard for Obscure Breads to kind of feed it out the top, so he needs to cross clear, and that's where Estelle shines. She can blink forward, she can use any of her abilities to kind of hit it in. Something else that I kind of noticed, everyone on Soondubu has 1-2 punch, and what you'll see a lot of the time is Grimella and Shapeshifting playing off each other, like passing back and forth. Grimella's just going to start red coring every time they do that, especially in overtime. It's going to make it incredibly hard for Breads to kind of hold, because he's not playing a character where you can just press a button and suddenly have everything covered. You know, he has to put down his primaries, his secondaries. Oh, an excellent shot by Grimella to put it through both of them. Didn't even try passing 3Z, knowing that Gret had the barrage up.
Yeah, really good game sense there, knowing what abilities they have up. Also, that save from shapeshifting to even make that happen, so that Asher can give that pressure. Can be so easy to miss that in the heat of the moment. It's like, oh, it's just a resurrection, you know, it happens, you know, somebody died, somebody almost died, but that is what sort of sets up these plays. Those are the things that need to happen. You need your opponents to waste their abilities on a kill. That doesn't happen. But two barriers going down, Bozo Bunch, you know, taking that a little personally there, trying to get back in. This dash punch down, no core flip to secure it just yet, and that is almost going to be death. Rose Warp, though, good find in the corner by Dropletto, not dying, heals up a ton with the now secondary and ultimate both. Piercing Shot comes out, Barrage does as well, Ash Protection, Barrier Beam, all forced out. Very few abilities here left for the Soondubu Strikers, and that is going to go through. The Cosmic Stance wasn't perfect, and Dropletto finds the angle around the top, putting Bozo Bunch on the board for the set.
I'm curious if Shapeshifting's strike was down there. I didn't really see him strike there. But he, as you said, he probably expected the Cosmic Stance to catch it. Starting off here, Gramel's going to use Ivory ability to try and feed it through Gret, who's able to kind of block it away. They're really trying to get any barrier with any ability that they can right now. I'm curious if they're trying to like set up specific siding for Onis. So for example, they're trying to make it so the barriers are opposite sides or on the same side, just because I feel like it works out a lot better for Soondubu if they're opposite, and then for Bozo if it's on the same side.
Is that feeding into that closed map versus open map sort of thing you were talking about earlier? Never mind, that's a core flip from 3Z. Apologies, I asked the question, but then it all picks up immediately, and then it kind of goes back into the corner here. Almost dying is 3Z, but he's going to get healed up. Barrier, though, does get taken down. Dropletto, nice tech on that punch into strike, I believe it was. Grimella trying to pass around Gret to go to 3Z, but it's so difficult to go through there. Barrier Beam looking, but not finding. Cosmic Expanse sending it forward as well. Dropletto up the top. Crystal Thorn's going to miss. The Barrage soaked up by Grimella, so it doesn't get much impact. Grimella interrupting these passes at every single chance, but so far not too much. The Pass Splitter counters the now arrow really nicely. 3Z's in front of the goal, but there's not too much just there. The Piercing Shot goes a little bit wide. Strike Shot from Shapeshifting is going to be able to save that. Pass up into the punch from Dropletto, and Shapeshifting expected to go up, but it went right through. The classic bell curve thing, shoot it straight at goalie.
Hey, once you get to a certain point, you never expect it to come right at you. You feel like that kind of goes away once you hit a certain rank. But sometimes shooting it right at the goalie is the exact thing that you need to do. Dropletto preserving that flip is going to be crucial for this point. Even though he's dying really quick, he might be able to take both barriers really quick with that flip if he's able to get into a good position for it.
Yeah, but he has to keep that flip alive. If you can kill and force that flip out just defensively, that's amazing to do. 3Z trying to do a little bit with that. The Rose Rope as well hitting Dropletto, but the Ash Protection goes a little bit wide, so he might start regenerating soon. But Barrier goes down amidst all of this. Rebound caught by Grimella, goes up to Shapeshifting over to 3Z, interrupted by a Strike Shot and a punch, and a little bit of a dribble there from Dropletto. Really nicely done. Gets it forward, keeps it forward. Piercing Shot keeps it up to Shapeshifting as well. No intercept opportunity there. Dropletto has once again been stopped on that regen timer, but is going to now start once again, almost full HP. The opportunity to take the flip away is kind of passed, and the core flip is going to go for another cycle around up to Shapeshifting, back and forth, and now back into the corner.
Yeah, the corner offense is definitely where Bozo's going to be shining here. Dropletto still has that flip, not able to use it, and that's a very good thing. He's very patient with it. Shooting it, like flipping early, shooting it, didn't work the last 2 times, so he's going to try and get into a position where it's definitely secured. And it doesn't even matter because Gret's able to find the exact angle he needs. Oh, that almost went in. Ooh, and an excellent kill by Gret on Grimella. It's going to be a lot harder to get through both of these two. But again, it's Iron Wall 33 and Shapeshifting. Even if Shape has a flip down,
but that is going to be a kill onto Atlas, and that is going to be the goal scored. Nice find by the Bozo Bunch, who now takes a 2-0 set lead. Both of them have been 5 points, but in the end, it's a 2-0 set for Bozo Bunch, just eking it out in the last second there. But that was an amazing setup from the Bozo Bunch, saving those flips for kills, because they're expecting, oh, it's Oni Village, they're going to use those core flips for, you know, core control. It's what you do, but they say, no, we'll just kill them.
I feel like with this draft, it's looked really, really good for Bozo Bunch. With the 3 sparks, it's going to be really hard to deny a drop, and he does not care what he gets. So he will take, actually, all 3 of these that were denied away. The extra special is still very good for Juliet. And that kind of leaves nothing for Asher. Siege Machine is very good for goalie Asher, so when 3Z comes back to help play defense with Shapeshifting, that's going to be very good. But otherwise, you're not really getting much value with the Siege Machine, because your barrier breaks instantly if you're playing it in forward position.
Yeah, that can be very difficult to contend with there. You can try to use it a little bit, but if it breaks instantly, then, I mean, there's not too much you can do. And, of course, these players know that, so they'll just go right through it. They're not going to be too scared away by a sort of very weak Ash barrier. But there you go, Dropletto taking that barrier on the other side. Just a strike warning the goalie. Great Cosmic Expanse, so stops the dash punch and the strike. 3Z Breezy as well to try and keep it away. The Rose Warp countered, unfortunately. Grimella going on the other side of Gret, who just was able to be slightly faster to that interaction. Barrage goes through, did a lot of damage to Grimella, who's now very low on HP. Potential kill angle, but not picked up just yet. The intervention comes out of Atlas, who isn't quite able to... Ooh, I was going to say, not save Grimella if that is a kill with it being on cooldown, but not actually going to do anything just yet. Goes for another cycle around. The Aspiration gets it forward, and finally, 3Z Breezy with that pass splitter is able to do something. Goes to Grimella, but the pass is intercepted time and time again.
I remember earlier how I said the Siege Machine's not really going to do much for the forward position. That ultimate stayed out just long enough for 3Z to be able to do something with it. So I actually think the Siege Machine might have been a good pickup. So, hey, you know, I was lying about that. I also feel like with all 3 of these flips being up, even Caster Curse. I was going to say, 1-2 punch flip, that core is going to go incredibly fast. It's going to be really hard to defend, even if Shapeshifting has every ability up.
Yeah, and I mean, when it's that open net in there from downtown, you have some room to react, but not that much, especially with how fast it goes with that 1-2 punch like you're talking about. Giga Blast here just hits Grimella, does a little bit of damage. Core flip there, forced out of Gret, who almost immediately died off a rip, but healed back up to full by now. Of course, one of the center points of that character. I mean, you have the movement speed as well as support, but just a very strong supportive character to keep this happening. Great defense, but the arrow from Breads. Shapeshifting just didn't see it. Had the amazing defense and the core flip to get it out and against so much aggression, but sometimes it's the little things. That is going to be a kill flip, though, from 3Z Breezy, finally taking vengeance on Dropletto, and it's going to go for a bit more of a cycle here around past to Grimella, gets over to Breads. Piercing shot almost steals it away, but not quite. 3Z Breezy also not catching the core there. Astral Protection countered by a core flip down to Gret, down in the corner here with the barrage. The Cosmic Expanse is going to save it.
Hey, earlier when they were taking the barrier of Soondubu Strikers, that passing play as they walked forward, absolutely immaculate. And then even the Breads was kind of playing in the net. He was able to set up some offense of himself. It's kind of where he shines with now. And of course, as I'm talking, Dropletto puts it in again. He seems to be very good at putting it in right when I'm talking about.
It happens. Sometimes you just gotta think on your feet and abandon what you're saying, because these players are insane and things change so fast, even on Oni Village, which is usually a very standard map, very kind of slow and methodical, but every now and then you just have this explosive action. One barrier gets taken on each side here, back to that sort of side play. A lot of damage, sort of Dropletto trying to kill Grimella while he's getting killed by 3Z, all in a line, trying to see what happens there. But piercing shot not able to get this core through Gret, who has really been just king on this midfield so many times, winning so many interactions. Now arrow consumed by 3Z. Dash Punch not going to get 3Z off the edge, but there we go. In the end, it's actually the pass splitter taking Gret off the field as soon as they start talking well about him, of course. Shapeshifting going to send it forward, has the Cosmic Expanse to counter the Dash Punch as well. Not going to use that core flip, but just going to step forward on that Atlas, and you can do a lot with forward Atlas on that. Just his abilities are so good up in that front, just stopping anything from happening. The core flip forced out by a great Giga Blast from Gret, but they cannot get this barrier. It is just so close, but yet so far when you just don't have any abilities left.
Hey, even though every ability kind of is being used to try to like kill both players, I feel like with the passing plays with Dropletto and Gret, they're able to just kind of feed the core forward even without using any abilities. And Strike is the most powerful ability in this game, I feel like, and they're utilizing it very well. But with the Bears kind of being on the same side again, Grimella is playing a character where he can kind of excel at trying to catch it out, but it's never going to be as efficient as if they're playing on opposite sides. At least that's kind of how I feel in the situation.
Yeah, great defense, though, in that tough situation like you're talking about, but 3Z Breezy with that core flip, saving core last second, but just Bread's core flip as well, so good, defending so many times that very tough corner angle on Oni Village. They're trying to get another step here. They have two core flips on the Bozo Bunch. One is used, defended by Shapeshifting. Not quite a combo there. Dropletto gets countered by an Astral Projection. Really nice setup there, just stopping anything from happening before it even begins. Barrier Beam comes out. A lot of damage on Dropletto here, but does have that core flip to evade if something happens. And also do fair bit of damage back. Finally, though, with the red cores in overtime with that 1-2 punch you're talking about earlier, finally getting that barrier. The Cosmic Expanse comes out as well. Red coring over Grimella, trying to get it interrupted by the Giga Blast. The core flip comes out to get the barrier. The arrow goes in the corner. Core flip from Grimella and the Rose Warp as well, but it goes to Gret in the end. Shapeshifting, trying to get it forward. The Astral with the barrage is going to go through. And that is game one over the Soondubu Strikers, taking the lead in this best of three.
I was kind of nervous about the now pick on Oni. I play it every now and again in solo queue. Obviously, it's not going to be the same as competitive. But sometimes it gets really hard to kind of defend whenever two people pinch. But Gret is always there to help Breads, and Breads is a monster on now. Made it look like, honestly, like one of the best picks. I'm going to have to take it up more often. Same thing with I was saying earlier. Grimella kind of playing Estelle, trying to feed it through the now. I thought it would be a lot easier because now doesn't really have anything where you just kind of press a button and something happens. But I think that Breads is so used to this character that he can kind of foresee these events happening and either preemptively throw a primary or whatever. Masterclass defense from Breads, and obviously Dropletto and Gret playing off each other so well. Very impressive.
Yeah, and at the end of it, though, person with the most redirects is going to be Gret, of course, well known for that very redirect-heavy midfield. The first time I ever saw him play, it was something like an Octavia with 350 redirects. So he is very strong on that midfield and able to just help out so much with obscure Breads. But the thing as well with like reading, Estelle is a very read-heavy character. It's just going to say that, the proper way to say that if there is one. But you read your opponents, and that's how you play Estelle. Other characters like Asher, you shove through your opponents. It doesn't really matter what they do. You're trying to set up and execute what you do, and that's how you win. But Estelle, you catch your opponent's mistakes, their clears, their passes. You are looking for the opportunity that they provide. and it looked like Obscure Breads was just on top of every single thought pattern that this Estelle was thinking. It's like, oh, if if Breads goes for the cross clear, I as Estelle want to use the piercing shot. Breads is like, okay, I'll do the cross clear with an arrow, or I'll just trust that Gret can carry this. I'll go for it anyways. And time again, just had that game sense. Just was inside of Grimella's head. It seemed.
Hey, I mean, they played together for a very long time, so it's very possible that Breads and Grimella are still kind of soul reading each other. Breads has Grimella written down on the book, even though Grimella has that little white placard where he's writing down all his little plans, something that he brought. I absolutely loved it. Grimella's so good at planning things. Breads played with Grimella for so long, so I'm sure that he can kind of figure out the things that Grimella wants to do in order to try and take the barriers.
Yeah, and that is a really good point. These players know each other very well, which is what leads to some of these really good games where they're just reading each other. They have the read on each other. It's not just randomly throwing it out and hoping that something happens. These are good players that know each other, so the mind games take it to another level. But once again, we see that Octavia ban, it is the ad rush and Among Titans start, which is pretty fun to see, especially on a map like Clarion Test Chamber, which of course can be very speed or KO heavy depending on the map variant you get. But I'll let you talk a little bit more about that.
Dubu is actually taking away from the Bozo Bunch. I feel like Bozo Bunch have this character now just kind of down. They know exactly what they need to do with the character. Put him in goalie, put her in goalie, put her in midfield. It doesn't really matter. Something I'm really curious about is if any team's going to opt to take Adrenaline Rush. I don't think it's ever going to be the pick. The speed that Among Titans kind of offers to any player makes it a lot harder to kill them. So if you take Adrenaline Rush, not only are you slower than your opponents, but it's also harder to kill them because they're running so much faster. But even still, you have probably 3Z Breezy playing the Zentaro. So very good core control character. It doesn't only matter about deaths.
Yeah, and I mean, especially if you're running that Now Atlas, it basically says Bozo can never take the Adrenaline Rush, because the odds, it's possible, but the odds of you actually killing through Now Atlas, especially when they're so fast, is going to be next to nothing. I might be proven wrong. Maybe I just Caster Curse the entire game. We're just going to see like a 40 KO game or something. But seeing that Dubu, Asher, Estelle come out, I think they've kind of also settled into a more core control heavy comp. Of course, you always got to be careful of the Quengle. You can never really count out Estelle, especially with a couple of buffs that you got to Brawler a while back. But definitely going to be interesting to see, but a lot more core control heavy it does seem.
Yeah, Bozo taking up the Dubu. I'm really interested about that. I know Breads plays Dubu. I know he likes Dubu. Did I get it right? Dubu? Oh, okay. I saw Grimella on the Dubu, and I was like, hold on a second, I get it wrong? I know Breads likes the Dubu, but I haven't seen him play a defense goalie in a long time. I know I've talked to him many a time about defense goalies. He just thinks they're boring. He doesn't care all about meta. He wants to do the thing that's the most fun, and if you're going to do the thing that's the most fun, obviously you're going to really excel. And you know what? There you go. He's not even going to be playing the Dubu. I was really surprised about that, but yeah, now it makes sense.
I was about to say, I've always been yapping about off-meta picks as a joke, but I was going to say, oh, what if Breads plays the Estelle goalie? We've seen that a couple of times here, and it's just like Dubu, Asher forward, and that is exactly what happened. If only it was the Zentaro goalie on the other side, so we got the full off-meta pick, but sadly 3Z Breezy isn't a knower of the Zen goalie tech. Barrier Beam almost catching out this Now, though, who is midfield as opposed to goalie this time, of course, with the Atlas on the defense. A lot more traditional comp here from the Soondubu Strikers. And we're going to see how this goes, because sometimes the off-meta, especially if you've practiced it, you kind of have that edge, because what are the odds that the Soondubu Strikers practiced against Estelle goalie Dubu Asher forward?
Absolutely. Estelle goalie is very good at keeping it forward, and then you have Asher and Dubu who are very good at, taking advantage of that, keeping it forward as well once they get the core. So I'm wondering if that's kind of their game plan is, hey, we're going to use the Estelle goalie, we're going to get forward, and then from that point forward, they won't be able to feed it out because, you're playing against Asher, you're playing against Dubu. You got the Dubu wall, you got the Asher primary, so it'll be a lot harder. But with all that being said, Soondubu Strikers able to take down the barrier and take the net, or take the goal as well. Caster Curse right there.
Yeah, really well played there. 3Z finding the angle, going for that in-between. Obscure Breads just maybe one strike away from having the core flip to maybe save that if it goes by. But just that window of opportunity, and that's the kind of thing that these players excel at, that they have to excel at to really be good at this level, because if you let something like that go, your opponents won't, and you will be the one losing the goal before too long. Barry goes down, shapeshifting, a little bit too far out of position. Did even have the extra speed from the Among Titans as well. We can see everyone taking that one up, but just still not fast enough. Dropletto, though, very low on HP. And, there's no Now or Atlas because that was stolen by the other team, and that's going to be the Oni's Blade getting the kill, greeting that core flip. But on the other side, shapeshifting kind of whiffing the core flip there a little bit. But, one core flip for one core flip, not too bad, even if it's not exactly a trade. 3Z Breezy trying to set it up in the corner here with Shapeshifting's help. Finally gets it through with the primary as well. Crystal Thorns, though, Obscure Breads being the forward as well. It's basically a triple forward comp here from the side of Bozo Bunch. And Ash Production goes a little bit wide, doesn't find the angle. Core Flip countered really nicely by a strike from 3Z Breezy there. Now winning the strike war, has the Core Flip as well going forward, but 3Z Breezy's on the bottom side. Rose Warp comes out, gets it over to Shapeshifting. Strike Shot, Ash Production, of course, a classic combo there as well. 3Z Breezy along with the Core Flip trying to get in there, use the dash, but misses, doesn't quite catch the core there. Red core out of the Dubu particle accelerator there, but the Astral Projection goes forward. Log comes out. Cosmic Expanse does actually trigger there, does catch, but doesn't do too much after that. Dropletto very low on HP. They're trying to get the kill here, but they can't get it, and that's going to be the Astral Projection going wide. Dropletto finding the angle down to the bottom.
Yeah, Soondubu Strikers are doing very well at keeping the core away from shapeshifting, making it so that Dropletto and Gret can't play off each other. Because I think once you get into that melee position where Dubu and Asher can kind of play on top of the Atlas, it's going to be over. Especially at this point where now they all have their ultimates. I feel like the ultimates of Soondubu aren't going to be nearly as impactful as the Bozo Bunch ultimates. You know, you have 2 heals, one being a teleport, versus 2 literal walls and then the Crystal Thorns. So it makes a lot of sense as to why the first point went the way it did, and now we're going to kind of see like all the abilities activated, where things are going to go from here.
Yeah, activated indeed. If you really make good use of those walls, then they are king. But of course, you can also misuse them. Oni's Blade, though, coming out, trying to get the kill on Dropletto. Somersault going a little bit wide on Eye. The arrow comes out as well, gonna just put a lot of pressure there, even if it doesn't get used. Log comes out as well to kind of counter it, but then the arrow immediately expires. Arrow goes down to the bottom corner. They are really shoving it into this corner, are the Soondubu Strikers, but they're not getting it through. Rose Warp actually does a ton of damage to 3Z Breezy off the back of it as well. Grimella having to play up, using the heal, but not getting 3Z, and that's a little unfortunate. There's a lot of healing off the table with that ability gone. Strike War, or Strike counters the flip there as well, and Soondubu Strikers not looking too strong. Cosmic Expanse as well. You can see the nerves getting to these players here. The Ash Protection trying to hit Dropletto, who finally ends up in the poison. Oni's Blade as well into the now secondary Proximity Mine. Really putting in the work there. Good setup there from the Soondubu Strikers. Has the power play, but can they do much with it? There are 2 core flips and potentially a Dubu wall sitting between them and the barrier. Both core flips used though, and the barrier still goes down. Unfortunate miscommunication there from the Bozo Bunch, and we have the potential here, but 3Z Breezy almost dying at the back of the play.
Hey, 3Z Breezy might be dying, but Gret is also kind of living on the edge right now. All it's really going to take is 3Z Breezy to walk forward and, you know, end up killing Gret, and that's exactly why Breezy being low is really important there. Grimella having a flip here against the Estelle. Estelle has so many abilities to kind of block it off. So trying to use it to score is going to be really hard, and I think that's exactly why they use it to kind of get the core forward and get into a position where they can pass off each other, play off each other just like that. Exactly what I was talking about.
Yeah, it is one of those weird things where, of course, Core Flip is a very powerful ability, but it's also very predictable in a lot of ways because you're so used to using it as that power ability, so it's always powerful. People know how to counter it when it's powerful, but if you use it for that pass, you use it for tempo, it can really trip people up and they're not expecting it. As we were talking about the bell curve earlier, at a certain point, just using it as a passing tool becomes so much better than trying to shove it through those, the Estelle abilities that just counter it so well. Barry goes down there, 3Z fighting it with the help of the team, and that is so much help needed to get these, though. Only one has gone down. We're 20 seconds in, which is not, you know, immense, but it's kind of the pattern of this game where, you know, have maybe 1 or 2 berries going down, and then it cycles again and again. These teams not letting this go very quickly, very easily. They do want to take this the distance, and it seems like we will be going there. Another round through the bouncy castle here. 3Z Breezy holding on to this core flip as well. We were talking about that earlier. You really want to use it well. You want to find the right way to use it. They're trying to get it through, but it goes through. The Dubu particle accelerator not doing too many favors. They're keeping it on the side of the field. Core flip forced out of the Estelle, so 1 less tool. Core flip from the now straight at the Estelle, but not going to go through. This time, Obscure Breads had the read on that one. Dropletto passing up to Eye, who gets it down. They're passing it all around, and it is cleared out for now. Cosmic Expanse comes out, sends it forward, but not into the barrier, just barely. But it actually, on the rebound, goes to Dropletto, who gets a double, and that is just not good for Soondubu with a kill flip as well from Dropletto. And they have completely turned this point on the head from 1 barrier down to 2 barriers and a kill in about 3 seconds.
Hey, I said it wouldn't be a high kill game, but it looks like I'm being proven wrong by the Bozo Bunch. I feel like the way that they play is very, like, poor. Keep it in poor and kind of like attrition your opponents down, do more damage to them while you just kind of like hold on to the core. And that's a good example of exactly what happened there. They just kind of held the core for long enough in order to get those kills, and they were able to take it.
Yeah, and if you have that patience, that's one of the hallmarks, especially of this Estelle. You really have to be patient. You can't be making moves too hastily. And that is a kill. Dropletto finding it onto 3Z there. Piercing shot as well means that there's going to be a very large Estelle to get through as well. And surprisingly quite good, one big, just because you can Rose Warp strike so much area in that. Core flip comes out, countered by Dropletto. Dropletto just has the read on the Soondubu Strikers this time, but that time was read by shapeshifting. Not going to get it that easily through this Atlas, who has been defending so well all throughout the LAN.
Hey, with this map in particular, Clarion Corp, there's essentially 5 different maps, and I feel like 3 of the 5, Bozo Bunch are big fans of, you know, playing in those lanes. And given the characters that they're playing right now, Dubu, Asher, and Estelle, they're able to just kind of lock down a lane, force opponents to kind of play through it, and then they can get those kills, you know, the dash punches, the flips, anything that they need in order to put it in.
Yeah, and the goal as well to follow. And yet somehow through all of that, that's set 1. Felt like that was basically the entire game there, but there's plenty of room here for these teams to scale. Something like a Stinger going to now to let the KOs swap. So many different options here.
I'm curious if now is going to end up taking aerials here in order to kind of like try to build momentum, or even extra special to deny it away from the Dubu, which I think is a very good pick here. I'm not really sure what Freeze is going to take. Maybe he's going to take the aerials to try and deny it away from the Estelle, who's going to get a lot off of the extra range. Turns out he ended up going for the glass cannon, which I'm not really sure about that pick, but I'm sure that Gramello and everyone else kind of walked him through it and explained it pretty well. So
yeah, that can be a difficult one, especially, you know, if you're on 3s and you're kind of brawling a lot. The glass cannon might not get a ton of use, but you also don't want to see that Estelle getting a lot of power and speed, because that could be tragic, especially with the speed from among Titans. But that's a double barrier going down. Seems like the draft worked out fairly well here for the Soondubu Strikers, but they're not going to get the goal just yet. They're going to pass back to shape-shifting. Pass splitter comes out. Astral Projection as well, but it's not going to get it through the Asher just yet. Log actually ends up going backwards and helping out the Soondubu a little bit, putting the Dubu in their name, of course. And then 3Z Breezy trying to dribble off the bottom of the middle here as well. Crystal Thorn's actually going to secure the barrier from downtown. A lot of range on that Estelle, but just keeps in this corner. And of course, the longer it's there, the longer it is. That's going to be a kill as well. Obscure Bread's finding it onto 3Z, and 3Z just needs to be able to stay alive, especially with the now in the Atlas. I was saying probably not going to happen, but somehow Bozo Bunch are finding a kill time after time on this Zentaro, and the core almost going to the goal. Not quite. Dropletto has the core flip though, has the pass splitter, gonna send it all the way forward. Crystal Thorns as well helping out the strike shot, piercing shot. Core flip kill not gonna connect onto 3Z, but the core flip at the top will go into the goal.
I'm really impressed. Kind of Bozo seems like they kind of play whatever they want and just make it work. They're playing Dubu forward, obviously. Most people can kind of consider it to be a brawler, and Greg's just playing in the midfield position, and it's making it look incredible. Like, I'm incredibly impressed with it. Obviously, Bread's being at the back or forward is helping a lot, and then Dropletto being able to convert every single time they get it forward. But, like, I'm just impressed that they kind of play whatever they want, whatever they think is fun, and it works out for them. As I said, you know, the strike is the most powerful ability in the game, and every character has kind of the same strike, with the exception of some passive. But, like, they are masters at utilizing that strike in the best, and kind of like using any ability any way they want.
Yeah, and it is also with Gret, it's one of those things with, like, you know, line led by lands or lands led by line. Would you rather have a midfielder led by a brawler or a brawler led by a midfielder? And it seems like, in this case, Gret, the brawler character led by the midfielder, is doing a pretty darn good job at it.
Yeah, I would definitely say so as well. You know, Dropletto and Gret kind of holding hands, moving the core forward as they go. I'm kind of foreseeing that Soondubu is going to bring this back. Every single kind of set in this game, with the exception of last set in Oni Village, has been a set or a 0.5 thing. So, like, I feel like they're kind of like playing, trying to figure each other out as they go. And, you know, Gramello's very good kind of planning around that. Shapeshifting playing with them, even though he hasn't played with them as long as he could. I know he's also very adaptable. And then you got 3Z Breezy, who I played with before. He's always impressed me, so.
Yeah, a lot of impressive players in this lobby. You can say so many good things about so many of them. And so always nice to see them play. Great passive there from 3Z, takes the barrier, doesn't use the core flip that he just now got. So that'll be really nice to see going forward. But yet again, we were talking earlier about the core flips. We have 5 core flips on this field right now. 1 used by now, countered by Dropletto there. But Dropletto very low on health, so we might see another one being used just defensively, trying to get the kill there onto now, but is going to get sucked into the poison there and stop for a little while there. 3Z looking for this kill flip angle, but takes so much damage, sent into the poison, and also hit by the barrier beam there. Fights back a little bit, but there's only so much you can do, especially when the healing on your team is down. There's the Atlas ultimate strike shot. Shapeshifting able to defend against that. It was almost surely going to go in if he didn't do anything there. And back to this one barrier to one barrier play that we've been seeing so often. The early aggression, getting that first barrier, not easy, but not very hard either. These players willing to sacrifice that to just maintain the position and the just standard of the game. But that's a kill flip. 3Z Breezy finding Dubu, actually just leaving the core up for now so he can pass forward a little bit. A bit of a nice play there from Brawlers if you like to see that. You know, just knowing, and that's going to be the kill and the goal as well. Good find by 3Z. But just the ability to play up a little bit, you know, trusting your midfielder to pick it up, I think is a really big part of these teams and just the way they play together.
Yeah, I know that 3Z is playing with Atlas and now, so it's a lot easier to live than you'd expect, but 3Z staying alive there and being able to use the flip to secure that kill, it was probably the thing that won him the round there. Even though he had the backing of his teammates' abilities, he constantly kept getting chunked down. You know, he went from full health to no health in about a second, which is kind of like what you would expect from the purple goop map, whatever you want to call it. 3Z taking both barriers back to back, with a masterclass off of this, and exactly what I said, like the volatility of this right now, like 3Z being able to take barriers as quickly as he is, bringing it back to a 0.5 potentially here. You know, Soondubu Strikers are not out whatsoever.
Yeah, I mean, every single one of these points has been close. The sets have been close. The only thing that isn't is the actual set numbers, which, you know, we see the Bozo Bunch taking the lead in. But Grimella able to lose a strike or to a log there, unfortunately, actually leads to a bit of a stall in the play, but no gold just yet. The proximity mine goes out. This orb in the center as well might be a very big boon for whoever gets it. And it's going to go to Dropletto, who is now a massive Asher on the side of the field with a very low Grimella and 3Z. And the Oni's blade sends it backwards into the goal. Only so much you can do about it against an Asher like that, but a little bit of an unfortunate play there. 3Z Breezy not finding the angle that he was looking for. And Bozo Bunch one set away from taking the victory and going to the grand finals.
That was a big Asher. It's a big Asher. Looking at this draft right here, I'm curious if Grant's going to take Castellass. Castellass is incredibly good on, well, the size actually makes a lot of sense. But Castellass being very good on Dubu, I was wondering if they were going to take that. A lot of really good pickups for both parties, though. Atlas having more abilities in order to try to keep the core away so that the Asher and the Dubu can't set up on top of them. The 1-2 punch on the Asher to secure those kills better. More power on Grimella in order to send the core forward. Draft makes a lot of sense to me.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense to me as well. I am personally terrified of that 1-2 punch Asher. Dropletto finding so many kills already, but with that, I mean, it's just going to enable so many more to happen. There's been a few that have been just barely short, but with that, it might just be the deciding factor. Pass splitter goes wide, and that's going to mean that Shapeshifting can actually get the clear without losing even one barrier, but Pearson's shot and so much damage here onto the forwards of Soondubu Strikers. Heal from now is used, but that is a special ability that's going to take a little while to come back online. Strike shot goes a little bit wide. Oni's blade comes out. Pearson shot, though, counters really nicely. Pass over 3Z Breezy. Center thing also used there. The fake Atlas in the middle there is so useful on the offense and defense, depending on how you use it. And so far, it's going to be the Soondubu Strikers making very good use of that environment there. Core flip from 3Z. Nice angle around the Dubu Asher there, which can be so difficult to find. But no barrier just yet. One barrier to one barrier still standing. Grimella very close to a flip here, but has to be saved by the Atlas. Great save, though it is indeed. Full health now, and no kill on that. But Dropletto on the bottom here, setting it up. Constant Expanse forced out. Atlas, not too many abilities left, and the core flip on Dropletto is threatening here. The Dubu wall as well with the log. The barrier beam finally goes down. Took a lot of abilities to get through, but that's going to be the instant flip there from Dropletto. A bit of a delayed instant flip, it looked like, but really well done. It was kind of a weird interaction with the dash. Seemed like it took a second to go through. Maybe that's just me, but really well played there by the Bozo Bunch.
Hey, Asher's second aim works perfectly fine. You know, the devs have it all figured out. Bounce House, I feel like this is going to be the best kind of pick for Bozo in particular, just because of the goalie, Estelle. Even though Asher and Dubu are very stationary and not able to kind of like move the core around, or move with the core as well as you want to, Estelle kind of being able to cover this entire lane with any, like a Rose Warp or the Crystal Thorns is going to make it a lot easier for him to hold. And I think this map in particular mostly falls on the goalie to kind of hold and defend.
Yeah, and I mean, if you don't need to defend, that's even better, you know, on that Estelle, just keep it on the other side of the field. Don't worry about it. Just, you know, keep it far away, keep it out of sight, out of mind, use all of your abilities from downtown. No reaction checks or anything like that is very nice. But of course, with corpus available on the enemy team, but the Crystal Thorn interrupts very nicely any kind of play that would happen. Cosmic Expanse comes out as well, which is nice. Buys a little bit more time. Core flip from Dubu, not a counter flip from Grimella. Unfortunately, whiffs that one. A little bit of patience on the side of Gret to not immediately do that, even in the face of the goalie, which sometimes you do want to do. Mass Production, though, gets it through Dropletto. Arrow sets up, but that's going to be 3Z going down. That's with a core flip as well, so that is a lot off the field. Brawler and Core Flip both. Bozo Bunch looking to take this game.
Yeah, I'm really interested in the comeback potential, because I feel like the drafts for Soondubu have been incredibly good comparatively to the Bozo Bunch. So as long as they can keep this momentum going, you know, maybe secure Atlas, a Twin Drive, something like Monumentalist or whatever, it's going to make it almost impossible for them to take any barriers off of them. I think Atlas is one of the characters that's going to be very well equipped to deal with the Dubu Asher. Unless there's a flip, of course, in your phase. There's not really much you can do about that. But 3Z making sure to keep the barrier count the exact same.
Yeah, and that is going to be the scores also being exactly the same there. Pass up from 3Z to Grimella. And that's one of those things as well. You know, a lot of people get bogged down in the midfielder versus brawler, and they are distinct roles, but sometimes you need to swap that. It's not so defined as some might think. So just, you know, having the game knowledge to go for that pass into goal rather than just trying to score it and shove it through yourself. Even though Zentaro is really good at stuffing it through, you don't need to if you don't have to. And it's going to be really nice there, though. The Bozo Bunch taking 2 barriers, not looking so good for Soondubu, who got 1 on the back half of that play, but that's going to be the Dubu wall also failing a little bit there. Oni's Blade comes out, sends the bottom strike shot as well. Passive from 3Z, not enough to get the barrier, just barely. Proximity Mine comes out, a little bit of healing, a little bit of damage, but not enough. Log comes out, Dropletto threatening in the face of the goalie here. Corfit down to the bottom is going to get the goal, and now the Bozo Bunch 1 point away from the grand finals.
And this team is looking incredible, obviously in NASL, getting second place. They look unstoppable. Like, playing against them, you almost kind of feel helpless playing against these guys. But I don't think Soondubu's out here. I think that they can easily bring it back. I'm sure Grimella has a plan to kind of deal with this. And 3Z and Shapeshifting are insanely good at capitalizing on anything that kind of comes their way.
Yeah, and I mean, it's not over yet, and it's one of the things about Omega Strikers is that even if you are winning, there is only the win. There is no, you know, there's a slight benefit to the draft, but, you know, there is nothing stopping the Soondubu Strikers from killing the Bozo Bunch and starting to take a lot off the field there. But Dropletto is back in 5 seconds, and it's not looking like the game's going to finish before that, so they're going to have to deal with an Asher and an own barrier from Shifting. Unfortunate, but definitely the nerves getting to these players. I mean, it is day 2 of the LAN, and that is how it ends. Obscure Bright's finding the Crystal Thorns from a little bit farther away, getting it through with the Dubu up in your face. Soondubu Strikers falling to Bozo Bunch here. They still have the opportunity, though, to go for the lower bracket and get back to the grand final, so stick around for that. But for now, any last thoughts on this match?
I mean, pretty much everything that I wanted to say, I've already said. Soondubu Strikers, they'll probably be back. Who knows? Sad Boys are obviously still in. We got Woe Chills in. I'm pretty sure EKC and them played each other. I'm not exactly sure where that is. We'll see in a second. But yeah, look, I think that these 2 teams are definitely favorites in order to kind of get in the grand finals. And having played against both of them, Grimella, 3Z, and Shapeshifting kind of at different points, and then Bozo Bunch yesterday, I do think that both these teams are definitely capable of taking it all.
Yeah, and that'll be great to see. So we will get to it eventually, but for now, we're going to cut to a little bit of a break. Stick around.